if it becomes an arrogant determination and we don't want to be aware what we're getting ourselves into, that it has its risks, both for the therapist and for the patient, then we may get ourselves into trouble, like Oedipus, denying that we could get ourselves into trouble.
Yeah, it's like not measuring how much truth and how much the pace of the therapy that would uncover things slowly and in an amount that the patient can absorb and you can absorb.
And you can absorb, exactly. Right?
Yeah.
The story
Right.
of the first child analyst, that was Hermine Helmuth, who preceded Melanie Klein, and she treated analytically in her time, must have been in the beginning of the 20th century, she treated her psychotic adolescent nephew. The nephew, in the middle of the night, climbed through the window and killed her.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You see? So she didn't know what she was getting herself into. Right? And this may happen. A patient may come and kill us. We are in danger. We don't know. May kill himself, may kill us, may act out and kill a family member. So we have to know that there is some risky aspect. But to leave in a more hopeful note, because everybody's depressed now.
but that's the whole point. I mean, because you're talking about the manic, in a sense, the manic states between the paranoid schizoid and the depressive position,
Yes.
that we have to travel that land.
Absolutely.
And now we're in the depressive state because we've confronted the manic experience.
That's right.
Yeah.
But perhaps on a more hopeful note, this twist that Bion is making, going from sexuality, Freud, to knowledge or the desire to know, makes a whole change in the aim of a psychoanalytic treatment or a psychoanalytic therapy, which for the matter, as Capers said when he came, he said for him there's no difference between a psychoanalytic psychotherapy and a psychoanalysis, that the frequency doesn't make the difference, that what makes the difference is what the therapist has in mind, how the therapist operates in the session, not how often he sees the patient or whether the patient is or not on the couch, right? Now, the change here, this creates an entire change of paradigm. Psychoanalysis, in Bion's view now, and we will move towards that next time and the last meeting also, the epistemological view, is that psychoanalysis is there not to get to grips with the conflicts with sexuality, but to get to grips with getting to know the truth. From that moment onwards, psychoanalysis becomes a search for truth and therefore becomes part of culture and mental growth rather than curing a pathology. It's about enhancing our apparatuses, enhancing our abilities to get to know, and enhancing our ability to bear the truth.
But it's putting a lot less emphasis on the whole libidinal drive and the sexual impulses and repressions and so on. It's
Exactly.
So would you say this is one of the main differences of just where Bion separates from Freud on the mind kind of over the body, or leaving the libidinal theory behind?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And leaving it behind, not dismissing it, but just not making of the libidinal view of the human being the central conflict.
Yeah.
Right? For Freud, this was crucial, right? The conflict between the ego and the sexual impulses, libido. Later, the conflict between the death instinct and the life instincts, called still libido. Bion's shift is between the drive to know and the pull to destroy your apparatus is to not know, between K and minus K. Right? And therefore what you can expect from Bion's version of psychoanalysis, if things go well, is that it will better equip your psychic apparatuses to be able to think and to search the truth and to bear the truth, without your having to blind yourself like Oedipus did.